Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. Tell me more about the premise of this show. What can we expect from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Me is what I would call the coming of age of a someday superhero. I mean, not today, but at some point, Ben Visani will become a superhero. The journey of sort of figuring out who he can be when he can be anyone in the world. Who does he want to be? Well, that's step one, and that sort of points to our title. What he discovers over the course of the season. But for him, this is the coming of age moment where everything around him in his life is new family, new school, a new superpower. And what does it all mean, and who can he count on, and who does this make him? Who does he want to be? Those are sort of what we can see. And so we'll see an origin story of a superhero, but we're also watching a boy growing up and learning that what's meaningful most is what's in your head and your heart.
I think it's very challenging today to come up with an original take on this teenage superhero story. And I'm curious about, what was your approach for it? Where did you find your inspirations?
So for me, the story came from my own kids. I have identical twins, and they are a bit smaller. They were when they were young, and my son was a bit older, and he looked like a triplet. And so the question and the inspiration was he had to figure out who he was going to be. Because if he
Mm.
tried to sort of be them, it wasn't going to work. But who did he need to be for himself? And in our house, we talked about that a lot. And that transformed into this sort of hero's journey and the coming of age story that became this superhero story. So for us, it was like, I can't speak to what is or isn't unique in terms of a jumping off point, but I can say for us, it was always about telling this sort of authentic story of and an emotional character driven one that really drove us from the start.
And what about the casting? How did you find your young actors? What did you see in them?
Well, we found them all over the globe. It took almost 6 months of the casting process. Our casting director, Josh Einson, had done This Is Us, all sorts of different projects, and he was sort of adamant that we had to sort of scour the earth to sort of find the right people. When we found River, it really just sort of fell into place. And then we watched him and Abby sort of bounce off one another. The chemistry was everything. And finally, Amanda came to us from Josh, who had seen her months earlier, and just sort of in his mind, I know. And when he told us that, he was right.
And I kind of believe that we live in a certain moment when people, are kind of getting tired of the increased amount of new superhero productions. And do you believe that they still can entertain the audience? And how exactly? What is your approach to make the audience interested in your story?
Yeah, for me personally, I can't control what the rest of the world, sort of sees or doesn't see. What I can sort of focus on for me was just telling a grounded, emotionally sort of real story, and hope that people want to see this very specific, very unique tale. And from what we've been hearing so far, it seems to resonate. And that's just really rewarding, gratifying, and exciting.
Did your cast maybe inspire you in some ways? Maybe they proposed some ideas that you later implemented in the story?
So that's a great question, because for us, we did table reads about a week before production started, and it was so clear that the scripts, especially in episode one, there's a great scene at the dinner table that was inspired by, we need to give more for these kids to do. They are so good that we have to write more that we didn't have on the page to really highlight and deepen and showcase what they're capable of, because they blew us away from the time that they arrived on set.
Thank you, Barry. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.